our weekly market update for the 6th of February 2013. And joining me is Cameron Cusher from RP Data. Cameron, first of all, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Cheers. Give us a rundown on how the feeling is, certainly from the South Australian market's point of view, early in the new year.
So last week we released our January index results, and it showed that home values in Adelaide were up 0.4%, which is, I guess, quite encouraging. It now took the annual rate of growth over the 12 months to January to 0.7%. And that was pretty much in line with what we were seeing in most other markets. Across the combined capital cities, values are actually up a much stronger 1.2% throughout the month, and are now up 1.8% year on year. So we have seen improving market conditions, and I know from most states in Australia, people have been saying that there's been a lot more inquiry out there at the open homes on the weekends than there was last year. So perhaps an encouraging start to the year.
Okay.
As I said, 1.2% up in the month. I don't think that that's going to be a sustainable level of capital gains, but certainly things are looking better. Okay,
I've got Kim McGinnis here from realestate.com.au with me, and he was saying similarly the inquiry levels have been certainly up through January, which they always look to as a good guide. Do you see that being an ongoing trend in terms of prices and transactions?
Well, we've still got quite a lot of stock on the market across most areas of the country, so hopefully that might mean that we start seeing some of this, the amount of stock moderate. But definitely I think the lower interest rates are finally starting to do the trick. I mean, of course, people don't just see an interest rate cut and then rush out to the housing to go and buy a new house. It does take some time for those cuts to feed into the market. I think that's the effect we're seeing now.
Yep.
Whether or not this level of inquiry can be maintained throughout the year, I guess, remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But certainly it's a lot better start to the year than we've had for the last couple of years.
Certainly. And just touching on the interest rates, any thoughts as to should they have made the decision to cut, or you're okay with the idea that it remained the same?
I think that they probably feel like they have time. Obviously, the house price data was quite strong. Consumer confidence has been picking up a little bit over the last few months. So I think that they'd be fairly happy with what they're seeing at the moment. Obviously, we got retail trade data out today, which was quite weak. So it's a bit of a mixed bag at the moment. Some things are looking very good, and comparatively speaking, some things are looking much weaker. So I think they've got time to sit on their hands, and there's actually now quite a lot of talk that we may not get an interest rate cut from here, and we may just see them on hold for some period of time. So it'll be interesting to see what, if any, the next movement is.
Yeah, well, as always, it's a bit of a juggling act, I guess. Any thoughts on how the auctions have started in the new year?
Well, this week's the first week that we'll be reporting auctions, and the preliminary results showed a clearance rate in Adelaide of 64% for the first week of February, which is quite strong when you consider last year, on a week-to-week basis, you're averaging about 40% auction clearance rates. Keeping in mind the volumes are still quite low.
Yep.
So I can't really provide too much insight into the auction market, but obviously a good first week of the year.
Okay. And is 2013 going to be the year of first home buyers coming out again?
Well, the data to November, the housing finance data showed that first home buyer commitments in South Australia are up 14.6% higher than they were in November 2011. I think it'll be actually quite interesting to watch because from what I've been hearing, a lot of the inquiry has been from people looking to upgrade more so than first home buyers, and it'll be interesting to see if they're willing to enter the market now and to compete with those people that probably have a little bit more cash than them. But generally, I think obviously the low interest rate environment, I think most people think that interest rates will stay at fairly low levels for a period of time. So that's conducive to attracting first home buyers into the market. So I do think we'll probably see a bit of a pickup in first home buyers, but I don't know that we'll get a massive surge in first home buyers this year. Sure.
And the top end of the market, we've seen some pretty strong sales already for the beginning of the year in that top end. Any thoughts there?
Well, interestingly, in Adelaide, and our data's only to December for this, but showed that the data we have shows that the top end of the market was the best performing sector of the market in Adelaide over the last 12 months. And when you consider what's been going on with the ASX 200, it's been increasing for about the last 4 or 5 months. That certainly boosts people's wealth. And I think you will start to see some of that tip over into the housing market with some of these people that have these equity investments maybe selling up some of those shares and looking to upgrade their homes. So I think that the strength of the ASX 200 does bode well for the premium sector of the housing market.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, and I think the confidence factor also boosts as well. And just quickly, your thoughts, predictions, how the next 10 months might roll out?
Look, I think it's definitely going to be better than last year. Home values fell 0.4% in 2012 after a 3.8% fall in 2011. So I think it's going to play out stronger than it did last year. But I still think that the kind of gains in the market is going to be fairly contained. But that could be anywhere from about 2 to 5% growth in home values over the next 12 months.
Wonderful. All right. Well, look, Cameron, thanks for your time. We'll no doubt catch up again next month. And all the best. So that
Thanks
takes
very much,
care.
Tim.
That's at the end of our weekly market wrap.